Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2024 Ford Maverick all-wheel drive in the Lariat trim, but it also has the Tremor Off-Road Package. This vehicle is sitting on 235/65 Falcon tires wrapped around 17-inch alloy wheels with a gloss gray finish. It also has a little gold trim there as well. Now it has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color is Atlas Blue Metallic, and it is an attention grabber. It looks really good, especially when you see it with this gold trim the vehicle has. It's just a nice color combination. So it has this gold piece right here in the grille, all the way from the headlight to the other, one headlight to the other, passes through the Ford emblem. So yeah, looking really nice. It also has these recovery hooks here at the bottom in that same color. Now it has the adaptive cruise control radar sensor right in here, a multi-reflector LED headlight system, and it also has the daytime running lights. And we'll check it out at night. The turn signals and some of the things are halogen bulbs, but we'll take a look at the driving usability and all that stuff at nighttime. Now it also has active grille shutters here as well. Now the matte black cladding that's there in the front extends here on the sides of the vehicle as well, all the way to the back. There's also these little flaps here, and there's body colored handles. There's gloss black here on the side mirrors, and the center pillars right here are a matte black. So you can see it kind of blends in the windows there, especially if you were to tint the front glass. There's a little Lariat emblem here. This is what the key looks like, and it's a pretty interesting key. Ford basically uses the same key for everything. It has a lock, unlock, remote start, and a panic button. There's a physical key on the inside as well. And I think that'd be kind of neat if they did a little bit something with their keys to make them more special. Especially this has like the Tremor package. Maybe if it says Tremor on here, something to kind of make it feel a little bit more special to your vehicle. So yeah, it's the full proximity key system, and it's designed just like a lot of other Fords, where you lock with this little sensor right here and then unlock by putting your hand behind the handle. There's also a physical key location here as well. Although the door doesn't go all the way to the bottom of the vehicle, it covers most of the threshold area, keeping it fairly clean, I guess. So here's the inside of the passenger side door, and I do really like the way they designed the insides of these doors. You can see this is kind of open all the way here. It has the pockets. You can put a large bottle or whatever there as well. It kind of goes in there a little bit as well. Just kind of like if you want to put an umbrella or something, it goes way in there. And but yeah, I like the way it's just like very durable, easy to clean material. And the handle right here, you can just grab it. You don't have to like this. You're not limited to the top. It's kind of open and very, just kind of unique and very usable and ergonomic, I guess. Now this is a hard touch surfaces here, and then you have the center soft. The only soft spot really is right here in your armrest. This is all hard touch surfaces. Has a huge seal right here. A lot different than a lot of other vehicles. No fancy seal plate or anything. Now this does have a fairly large space to put your leg over. Kind of deep wheel well there, which is good for legroom, but as far as getting in and out, it is it's a little bit different. Like a lot of large trucks and stuff will have it just basically you just slide your leg right out and not have to lift your legs up over this large area here. Manually adjust the seats here on the passenger side, and it has that gold trim contrast stitching on the heated seats, and they're fairly comfortable. I had to get used to the seats a little bit, but I would say most people would be fine with it. It has the Tremor embroidered there in the back of the seat as well. So yeah, pretty decent amount of legroom here in the front, and it has the upgraded slush mats or rubber all-weather mats here. Non-locking glove compartment. It has a soft landing, pretty good size, and a smooth plastic on the inside. I wish I had some kind of little shelf or pocket here, but it's just kind of open, and then you can see this little space right here. Right there would be a nice little spot to put something, but it's just kind of recessed for design, I guess. And then we have a hard dash. There is a little storage pocket right up here that you could put gloves or whatever you want up there. It's kind of not right in your line of sight, so it's easy to forget whatever you put in there. And also it's in direct sunlight, so you have to worry about, you know, if it's something that's going to be affected by sunlight, like a phone or something. The opening here on the front is quite a bit bigger than the back, so it's very easy to get in and out of the vehicle. You're not bumping your head. It's fairly straightforward. The only thing is right there in that threshold area, you got to lift your leg up over that large little wall there. Other than that, it's very easy to get in and out. Now the back door, quite a bit smaller. It's still not bad, but the swing of the door is nice. Swings out nicely, so it's fairly easy to get in and out. There's limited space. We'll get to that in a second. The back door, same thing, all hard touch surfaces. Then you have the one soft touch right here. Does not, you know, it's pretty good. It's like a hard vinyl type material. But this pocket system, I like the way it's open here, and then you have the cup holders there. It doesn't have the little space in the side, but you know, it's very similar to the front as far as the styling and usability. So you can see that there's some tapering right here, but there's the legroom there, and you compare that to the front. It's quite a bit smaller, which is fairly normal for a vehicle this size, for a truck this size especially. So you can see the back seat, basically like a bench seat. It does have the latch system for car seats, which is just kind of in this little crease. There's an armrest with cup holders, very soft armrest. There's a power sliding rear glass there. There's a map pocket on the back of both front seats here. Significant hump, but there's plenty of legroom here in the back, as far as, you know, your legs going down into the floor, so your knees aren't sticking up in the air. Difference between the seat and the floor is good. Little space right here to put an umbrella or something. Whatever you put in there is going to slide around, so just keep that in mind because it's hard plastic. So there's USB ports, USB-C, USB-A, little cable management there. And here is a power inverter, 3-prong, 400 watt, 120 volts. You can lift this seat up. There's a strap here. Just pull on that and lifts up the whole thing like so, locks in place, and then you have some under-seat storage here. So although it is useful and it keeps things out of the way, there is little dividers you can buy and stuff like that as well. These little things right here, so right there, you can hook, there's little accessories you can attach to that. You can also use it for cable management. That was my first idea, was to use it for cable management, but you can also use it for the little accessories that they sell for this vehicle. Same thing with here. In this area here, see those little attachments. I would personally rather have like a flat floor, but there is a significant hump there. So they're kind of trying to use this space for storage the best they can, I suppose. Now this back seat flips forward, and this is where you'll find a little subwoofer there, a little 6x9 subwoofer, tools for the spare tire, and some other things as well. So very little usable space behind the seat really, but I guess you could stuff some stuff back here. You just got to be careful with some of the wires and all that stuff. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, it has this little combination mast and shark fin antenna there at the top in a matte black, and then it has the cargo lights here with the third brake light. They're in the top of the glass, or right above the glass. Privacy glass back here, and there's the sliding little window right there. They have this black cladding here on the sides, so when you're loading stuff up, that kind of helps out with avoiding, you know, scratching the paint and stuff like that. Now that works with the spray and bed liner. So it has a combination of LED and standard bulbs for the taillights. So yeah, you can check them out. We'll do a full night video. You can check them out and see what you think about them. It does have a locking tailgate with locks with the vehicle as well, and then also a physical key there as well. I really like the way they have the backup camera right here. It's in a very center position, fairly high. It's integrated with the design of the vehicle. It's near perfect as far as the location anyway. A little bit of a drawback when I actually use it though. I'll get to that when we get inside the vehicle. So I like this bumper, completely flat, very easy to, you know, step in or step up on and get to the back of the vehicle. But yeah, it looks pretty clean and good, but it's a full bumper cover, you know, so the actual bumper is underneath this, so you got a bumper cover there. The tag is offset, kind of interesting, and it has the towing package with a 4-way outlet. Okay, so when we lower this tailgate, there's no soft landing or anything. You notice that now we can't access the bumper to step up. So that's something, you know, I wish this area right here had a step. Maybe there's a, you know, accessory that you can buy to step up or whatever, but I mean, you can make that step, but right up to the tailgate. But it'd be nice to have something to step on when the tailgate's down. So the tailgate, it basically, they call this bed the flex bed. And so there's different options that you can do. And part of the reason why you have to have the flex bed is because the bed is a little bit smaller than the full-size truck. So it has these tie downs right here. It's also like a bottle opener there on the sides, on both sides. You can also basically, well, we'll get to this in a second. This tailgate lifts up and you can hook it to a higher position. But you can see it has the spray-in bed liner, which is separate from the cladding there. And then it has these cleats right here for adjusting the angle of tie down here on the top. It has fixed tie downs as well, here on the sides, top and bottom, here in the back, and you have some there in the front. Always handy to have those. There's a little storage cubby, which is kind of interesting. You can open it up and use this part, but you can also slide the bottom out like so, and then it's a taller compartment there. So you can put some more stuff in there, or a taller item or whatever. Or you can hide some stuff down in there, and then put this on top, and then you have a secret compartment. But it's not locking, so keep that in mind. Here on the left side, you have another light for the cargo light, which will turn on. You also have a button to turn on manually if you want. Then there's another 400 watt, 120 volt power supply, power inverter here. Okay, so this area here, the width, is not big enough to put a 4-foot sheet of plywood or sheetrock or whatever in here. So what they did was they gave you a place to put a 2x4 across the wheel wells, made the wheel wells flat, and then you're able to lift up by disconnecting this, lift up the tailgate to this higher position here. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. So now this tailgate, the top of this tailgate right here will be the same height as the wheel wells. So you can rest the plywood or sheetrock on top of that. And it has like a 400 watt or 400 pound rating apparently. But you know, you would have to put like a 2x4 across the wheel wells and you know, kind of be prepared for, make sure there's no sagging in the middle, especially if it's sheetrock. Now you notice there's a little spot right here, right there, to vertically slide in a 2x4 for a divider. Same thing right here. So you can get the appropriate length board, you can slide it in there and use it for cargo management, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. If you really need to stack up a bunch of plywood or sheetrock and stuff, it'd probably be best to get a little bit larger truck. But you know, if you're doing that regularly, this one would be good in a pinch or whatever if you need to, you know, carry a few sheets. But yeah, it's fine. But it's not really. I personally would get a larger truck if I did that regularly. There's a locking fuel door, and it's here on the driver's side, and there's no cap to worry about. And now it's saying that you can put regular fuel in it. This is a boosted 4-cylinder engine, so me personally, I'd probably put a premium fuel in it, but for longevity, but it could run fine on regular gas. As long as you have the key inside the vehicle, you just press and hold the brake and press this button to start it up. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat, and you notice the floor mat snaps in place. There's the accelerator, brake pedal, and the floor mat actually covers up some of the footrest here, which is nice, because the mats that don't have it kind of like accumulate a bunch of dirt and stuff in that little crevice. So this is good coverage here, and it kind of contours up as well. Let's take a look under the hood. You just pull this twice, and after you pull that lever twice, you just lift up on the hood. There's no catch or anything. Now it does require a prop to hold it up, and there's the prop there. It swings up to right where the arrow is pointing. So you'll notice there's no insulation under the hood. There is a seal across the back in the engine compartment. The battery is easy to get to. There is some shielding there on the firewall, insulation and shielding. And you notice that the engine is positioned like a front-wheel drive vehicle. So here's the front of the engine here, and there's the back of the engine, and the transmission's down there. You can see the coil packs lined up. Now it's a 2.0 liter turbocharged EcoBoost engine. Now you can get the 2.5 non-turbo if you'd like, but this one puts out 250 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. So it's quite a bit of power for a vehicle this size, and it is a pleasure to drive as far as the power delivery, the transmission, all that stuff. So yeah, even though it's a smaller displacement with that turbocharged boosted engine, EcoBoost, it is pretty impressive. So it's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. It also has, since it's the Tremor package, it has the off-road suspension system, an all-wheel drive system, which has a twin clutch rear drive unit, and it has, of course, the unique styling and all that stuff. So the all-wheel drive system, a little bit more capable, and it has the different select trains that you can select different trains you can drive on. And but yeah, it's the Tremor package is just a little bit more for the off-road enthusiast. Without compromising on ride quality, it does ride really nice. The blind spot detection and rear cross traffic alert indicators here on the side mirror just illuminates when there's a vehicle in your blind spot. Now the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So there's door lock controls, power windows, one touch up and down, non-laminated glass. Rear windows, same thing, one touch down, it goes all the way down, and one touch up as well. Side mirrors are adjusted here. You just pick a side, adjust it with that little pad right there. And then if you don't want the kids to play around with the windows in the back, you can lock the windows, keep them from being rolled up and down. Now it does have the B&O sound system, which sounds really good. And you can really fine tune it. It has a pretty decent amount of bass considering just that little tiny subwoofer back there. Power seat here on the driver's side, unlike the passenger. And you're able to go up, down, tilt, like a dentist chair, tilt the back, and then a two-way lumbar adjustment as well. And once again, these are heated seats and fairly comfortable. Like I said, I had to get a little bit used to it, but it was fine. Once I got it adjusted and I drove a little bit, it was okay. Here to the left of the steering column, this is for the cargo light there in the back, and then you have the headlight switch here. So there's complete off, parking lights, automatic headlights, which also has the automatic high beams, and then the headlights themselves there. Dimmer switch to the interior gauges here as well. And there's a tilt and telescoping. It's kind of stiff. Tilt and telescoping. There we go. Steering column. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I'm 6 feet tall, and I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down to show you the potential legroom here. And that's basically where I normally sit, all the way back anyway. I lift it up slightly just to make it a little bit more comfortable with the seat. But yeah, as far as the legroom is fine with me being 6 feet tall. If you're over 6 feet tall, you might want to take it for a test drive to make sure that it's gonna work right for you. But 6 feet for me, sometimes I feel like I'm trying to push the button to see if it'll go back a little bit further, but so far it's been okay. Steering wheel is really comfortable. Good thickness, it's soft to the touch, really nice. It's also heated as well. So yeah, very comfortable steering wheel. Good thickness, really good. Here on the left side is the volume for the radio. You can mute the radio here. You notice this little section here at the bottom is separate from the top. So this part and this part are together, so you have the change through the tracks. You also have 2 buttons here. The changing through the tracks also serves to answer and hang up a phone call. So if somebody's calling you, hit this button to answer, and when you're finished, you hit this to hang up. I like the way it has separate buttons for the hang up, but you know, I guess it's okay as long as you having buttons for changing the tracks. You know, kind of like a little bit, I kind of prefer separate buttons for this particular case, but it doesn't really matter, I guess, in practice. Voice recognition here. So right above this area is the cruise control. So you have to turn it on, and then you can set it. So you press this button, and then you pull down to set. You can increase or lower the speed. You can resume here. I wish it was just one button to do everything, but you know, like some other vehicles. The lane keep assist system, once you turn it on, it stays on, which is nice. You can set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. You can cancel here. On the right side, this is for the screen between the gauges. We'll get to that in a second. You have a menu, OK, up and down, and a back. We'll use all those when we use a screen, go through the screen right here. Windshield wiper controls are here, fairly straightforward. Turn signals over here, of course. It also has the headlight dimmer switch. But it also has this button here on the end. So if you don't have the cruise control on and you want the lane centering system to be active, you can quickly turn it on there. Okay, so here is the gauges. Tachometer RPM gauge here on the left side, right above the engine coolant temperature. Here on the right side is the fuel gauge here, and then the speedometer, the more standard speedometer. But here in the center, it has the digital speedometer, what gear you're in. It has the miles to empty, odometer here, how many miles the vehicle has, which direction the vehicle's facing, which right now we're facing west, and then the outside temperature there as well. So right now it's showing in addition to the speedometer, it's showing the fuel economy. So you notice the screen's flickering a little bit. Let me see if I can make that go away. Yeah. It's a little bit better, but yeah, it has nothing. I mean, the vehicle, it's not flickering, it's my camera doing it, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so it's showing right now these fuel economy, showing average 22 miles per gallon average. When I scroll down, see how the menu button up and down and back. Remember those buttons? Scrolling down, we get more information. We have the trip, we have the tire pressure. This is the status of the all-wheel drive system, how much power is going to the front versus the rear. Most of it's going to go to the front unless it needs the rear wheels, depending on what drive mode you're in. Scrolling down again will show the angle of the steering. So as I turn the steering wheel, it'll show the angle there in the center, and then it also shows the pitch and roll of the vehicle. So whether you're going up and downhill or if you're leaning left and right, that kind of stuff for the off-road mostly use. So this right here is whatever your radio's doing, and then it goes back to the miles per gallon there. Now if we hit the menu button, it pops up this little menu, and then we can select the different screens that we have. There's the audio. Let's go up here to select screens. So if we want a comm screen, we can select that. We can have a second trip. We have different things that we can also have a trailer light check, that kind of stuff, which you can have here on the main screen. You have audio, phone, and then we have all the settings here. And then you can go and set up the display right here. And let's go back up here to all the settings. You can kind of get an idea of what's in here. So yeah, that's kind of a quick rundown of what's on that little screen there in the center. It's a pretty good amount of information there when you need it. Okay, so this screen over here, we saw the little storage compartment up here. There's another one here, and it goes in just a little ways. It has a little lip, a little rubber bottom with a little lip on it so things don't slide out in theory, but this little mat comes out fairly easy, so I think most of the time it'll be fine though. But this comes out easy so you can clean it, so that's nice. So this touch screen right here, we go to the home button, and it's a split screen between the navigation, radio, and your phone. And you can just tap the one that you want to go to. It has the digital clock, outside temperature, what your climate control settings are for your dual zone climate control. But you have these buttons here on the bottom that are very handy because they stay there. And then you can hit the audio, go straight there. You can change the source, AM, FM, satellite radio, in my case, Bluetooth stereo as well. And then we have the little presets there at the bottom, album art, that kind of stuff. Hit this button to go to your phone. You can add phones, and then you can connect to different phones here. And if you add more than one phone, it'll be a priority system. So you have one that's priority of the other. Navigation screens here. It's pretty straightforward. There's your menu. You can go to your history, get your favorites, that kind of stuff. Look for stuff, do searches. You do searches here as well. You can also pinch in and out, kind of get your bearings, see where you're at. There's the apps. You can find more mobile apps. So it does have the XM travel link, which is very convenient. Then you can go into your settings here, adjust the sound, clock, Bluetooth, satellite radio, navigation, and then general settings. You have all these different vehicle settings, which are separate. Let's go into the vehicle settings. It does have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. This is where I had to turn off the rear occupant alert because it was driving me nuts. Every time I got out of the vehicle, it was turning on and beeping and stuff like that. Sounded like there's something wrong with the vehicle. You can adjust the ambient light here, just the brightness, not the color. So yeah, that's kind of a quick rundown of how to navigate through the screen. It's fairly simple. So down here there's a physical volume knob, tune through the stations. We can change through the tracks, we can play and pause. We can turn the screen off if we want, and just have that calm screen right there. This is handy for like if time is of the essence and you need to know the date and all that stuff. I really like that. You can make it dark by pressing it. You can turn it completely off by pressing it again. And then we can pull it back up here. Alright, if you press this button, it goes into the sound settings, which is very easy to have. Really nice to have that. Press it and make a quick adjustment there. Now the four-way flashers are here, and right next to it is the idle stop. You can turn it off, so it's very easy to get to that button. When I get in a vehicle, press the button immediately. Alright, so down here is the climate control. Driver and passenger temperatures are controlled here. Now the number isn't displayed here at the bottom, it's displayed here on the top of the screen right there. So as I turn the knob, you can see it moves and changes the number there for the driver and the passenger separate, or you can sync them if you'd like. You can turn on the heated side mirrors, front and rear defrosters, recirculate the air, turn the air conditioner on. You have the max AC, where you want the air to blow. You have 3 automatic settings, low, medium, and high. Heated seats, low, medium, and high, so it's 3-stage. Fan speed right here if you want to control it manually, or you can put it in automatic mode. So down here is where there's the switch for the rear glass, which I'll show you that in a second, in a few minutes. USB-C, USB-A, backlit. We already saw the start button. There is a wireless charger here, which works fairly well even with my phone case, and it's rubberized, so the phone doesn't slide around. Little storage compartment there and here. So the passenger can prop their phone up there. You can also put something back there and also charge your phone, whatever you want to do there. Cup holders are here, has little spring-loaded little arms there. It's also open there in the center with a rubber bottom, so if you want to put other things besides cups, you can do that. There's a little storage compartment there, hard plastic. Okay, so here is the shifter. It's very straightforward. Press and hold the brake, put it in reverse. 2 things will happen. The backup camera will pop up, but also the parking sensors as well. And you have a little visual right here as well. But the backup camera is the field of view is good, and it works well. It has active guidelines and stuff like that, but it doesn't have a wide enough view to be able to see left and right. So other vehicles, like say Honda Ridgeline, you can actually, there's different views in which you can see left and right. Now in this case, you just have to rely on the rear cross traffic alert. With the Honda Ridgeline in particular, you can actually see if there's anything left or right. So having that wider field of view is handy. At least have that option. Now you can hit that button if you need to back up to a trailer. Gives you that center line right there and more detail. Alright, there's neutral, drive, so it's pretty straightforward. There's also a low range here as well if you needed some engine braking going down a hill or something like that. Electronic parking brake, you just press, pull up on it, it engages the rear wheels, press and hold the brake, push it down to release it. So here's the different drive modes here. So you can lock the four-wheel drive in, lock the rear differential. The brake hold feature, you can turn that on if you need if you want to hold the brakes while you're come to a complete stop, basically. This is the downhill descent. It's kind of like a very slow off-road cruise control in a way. And then this is the traction control. So you can turn it off, and it gives you a little indicator here that it's off. Default will be on. And then you press this button, and it shows the different drive modes. And it shows here on the screen. So you have normal, tow and haul, slippery, mud, ruts. It's pretty cool, it has a little animation there. Sand, and back to normal. So you just kind of cycle through and rest on the one that you want. Okay, so little storage compartment here, has a rubberized little floor there as well. So once again, you can put your cell phone or whatever you want in there as well. It's fairly tall, so you can put tall things in there as well. Okay, so the armrest, soft to the touch, very comfortable, pretty good size, but not big enough to share with the passenger, I don't think. Depends on how generous you are. And it lifts up, it's kind of spring-loaded a little bit so it doesn't slap back down on you. And it is just a compartment. There's no kind of connectivity or anything like that. It does have a felt lining at the bottom, which you can take out, which is just, if it was me, I would change that felt to like a lighter color so you can see in here a little bit better. But yeah, let me see if I can, increase the brightness there. So yeah, it's just a dark abyss compartment. Got my business cards in there. But yeah, it's if there was a light or a lighter interior, it'd be a little bit better. So the rearview mirror is just manual day and night mode, nothing special, kind of old school. There's tap lights up here. You could turn on all the interior lights, turn them all off, or have it turn on with the door in that center position. Place to put your shades. It is felt lined right here, nice and soft felt lining too. Here on this side, but not on this side where the lenses would be. So the headliner is a cloth, and then the visors match it as far as the way it looks. Same color, very similar texture, but this is a vinyl material, which is nice, easy to clean, very durable. Has a little clip right here. Mirrors, lights. It does extend out and pretty decent as far as the coverage. And you see there's a clip on both sides. Basically the same thing there on the passenger side. Looking at the visibility, you can take those headrests off if you need to. But yeah, it's not really a big deal, the visibility. Looking over your shoulder, looking out the back window, out the rearview mirror, side mirrors, all that stuff is fine. Now for a truck, it has little tiny side mirrors, but yeah, it's not a big deal overall. I hadn't had really much of a problem with visibility. The only thing is, I just wish it had that camera, which is more of a wider view option anyway, because I've gotten spoiled with that view on other vehicles. So having that on this vehicle would be better, especially if you have a bunch of stuff in the back of the truck and it just limits your visibility that way. Having that little bit better camera system, especially on the top off-road trim and all that stuff, not having that additional view, just not even a 360 view, just a wider view on the backup camera would just make the driving experience a little bit better. So during normal driving, it's going to use the front wheels more than the back. When you really accelerate hard, it will kick in the rear wheels, but it's mostly a front wheel drive vehicle for the most part. Now I mentioned that the seat, I had to get used to it. It was mostly just the pressure here on my thigh. It's a little bit firm there on the front end for some reason, and I couldn't really push the front end down. It doesn't give me that, I can tilt the back, but I couldn't really tilt the front down a little bit. But it became not really a big deal once I got used to sitting in the seat and adjusted it properly. But something that most of the time, you know, I can adjust that out, you know, and this one I couldn't really do that. So the ride quality, now this is a smooth road I'm driving on right now, but the ride quality for a truck is really good. It reminds me a lot of the Honda Ridgeline, where it just rides, it doesn't drive like the ride quality is not like a truck, you know, you're not bouncing around, it's not like a bouncy vehicle or anything like that. It has a very good planted, you know, feel to it. It feels like you're driving a car or an SUV, that kind of stuff. So even with that little bit of acceleration there, it was all front wheels. I didn't accelerate too hard, and it was all the front wheel drive system there. The lane centering system works okay. It doesn't bug you, which is the best thing about it. It doesn't have a sensor in the steering wheel, but as far as driving, if you're just kind of, you know, holding the steering wheel gently, just a tiny bit of pressure from your hands, it can sense it. So, you know, even though it doesn't have this grip sensor, it can kind of tell you're holding the steering wheel without, you know, driving you nuts. Some vehicles, like, you're holding the steering wheel with two hands and it still tells you to put the hands on the steering wheel because you're not moving the steering wheel enough. This one doesn't really have that problem, and it does a decent job of, you know, maintaining the lane. It's not very, like, it's not, you know, real rigid on where you stay in the lane, you know. It will kind of allow you to, it doesn't fight with you, you know. Some vehicles, like, it wants you to stay in a very specific spot in the lane, and if you try to drive outside of that narrow range, then it just kind of fights with you the whole time you're driving. So once again, this one doesn't have that problem either. So yeah, I think it's an enjoyable vehicle to drive. You're able to, you know, have some towing capacity. You have some, you know, of course, bed capacity for picking up stuff. A little bit of back seat room, you know, and it's just a nice little truck. And it's funny because it's small by today's standards, but it's actually not that small, relatively speaking. I mean, it's pretty good size. So, you know, I don't think that, I think it's big enough for a lot of people, you know. It's actually, the interior space is not that, it's similar to the Honda Ridgeline, really, as far as the interior space. Now, the cargo space in the back seat is inferior to the Ridgeline, and also the bed size, and it doesn't have the trunk area. So yeah, as far as the usability, I would say me personally, I would prefer the Honda Ridgeline over this one, but I think this one still could be a good option, especially when you're talking about the price, you know. Like, this one is like $40,000, so when you start getting into that price range, then there's a lot of other options. But the Maverick starts at such a low price, and I think the lower trims are where the value proposition comes in this vehicle. You know, the more extreme trims, high trims like this, where the price gets really high, it starts to, you know, be harder to justify, I would say. But me personally, if I was gonna get a Maverick, I would definitely get the lower trims and just kind of, you know, take advantage of that lower cost and have a nice little vehicle. It would be excellent truck, I think, for those, you know, in the $20,000 range. It would be great, you know. I think that would be a great option because it does have a great ride quality. It's not really that loud, and like, you don't really hear a lot of noises. You hear a little bit of road noise, a little bit of wind noise. The engine isn't overly loud, you know. It's not really a big deal. Now, this has the off-road package with the off-road tires, get more, you know, all-terrain type tires. So you do hear a little bit of road noise. So if you had more of a smoother tire or something like that, it might be less of a deal, you know, big deal. Now, you know, I don't know if you noticed, but it told me to keep my hands on the steering wheel, and because I'm barely touching it, just barely. But if I barely nudge it like that, I'm doing this on purpose so you can see what it does. So you can see the lane centering works pretty good, not overly aggressive, but it works well. And if I just, you know, even just the slightest movement of the steering wheel, it recognizes that I have the hand on the wheel again. So yeah, it's overall, I would say that with the lower trims especially, it is a good option for a lot of people. If you're not, you know, loading it up stacks of plywood and sheetrock, that kind of stuff, then this would be a really good go-getter for, you know, to the store, get some boxes or whatever, zip around, pick up some people, have some rear passenger space, you know, have a fairly comfortable ride quality without being an overly huge truck. Fuel economy should be better though, to me. Now this one has like 250 horsepower, but still, you know, a truck this size, you know, like I'm getting like 22 miles per gallon. So yeah, it seems a little low. I mean, the Honda Ridgeline is a bigger vehicle, more capable vehicle in a lot of ways, and it gets better fuel economy. You know, it's like 23, 24, so slightly better. So I don't know and understand what the deal is with the fuel economy on this one. Now this is, you know, 250 horsepower is pretty decent. So yeah, it's one of those things where you have to kind of drive it, see if it's right for you. But me personally, I think in those lower trims where you get a truck for $20-some thousand, that's where the value proposition comes in. And you know, of course, if you really like it, you can upgrade from there. But I would definitely at least take one of these for a test drive if you haven't already, because it's pretty impressive actually, in its own way, you know. But anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.